Hi guys, for this semester I am going to handle Python. Okay, so you are in the final year. Okay, so you are very much familiar with the programming languages. Okay, so as we know that why we need to learn the programming language. So right now from first year, second year you have learned about the two programming languages. One is C and another one is Java. Okay, so Python is another programming language. So what is the essence of learning Python? The question arises. And if you consider what does a programming language will do? Okay, so our main intention is to assign tasks to the system or a computer and instruct the computer to perform tasks on behalf of us. Okay, so how you are going to do all these things? So for that, what you are going to do? You are just write a program in any of the languages, and one more thing is that the system can understand only machine level language. Okay, machine level language in the sense which is written in the binary format, but that machine level language is not easily understood by the user or the any human beings. It cannot be easily understandable. So for that reason only a programming language has to be developed which the user or the human beings can easily understand. For that reason only the high level programming languages were developed. High level programming languages in the sense those programs which are written in the natural languages, such as we can use English. They are English like statements. Easily we can understand. If you consider a particular statement, by reading that statement we can understand what is happening. Whether it is an output statement, whether it is an input statement, whether it is a function, whether there is any kind of arithmetic expressions happening. So number of things can happen by just reading a piece of code or a simple instruction we can understand. But what about the computer? It cannot understand the high level language. For that we are having a language translator either in the form of compiler or interpreter which can easily convert the high level language to machine level language. Okay, so this is the things that you have learned in the first year, either in the first sem or second sem. You are very much aware about these things. Now the question here is, in spite of we are having C, Java, what is the essence of learning Python? Why we should learn? Okay, so whichever the new things that you are going to adopt or you need to learn, so you just have to be aware about its features, its advantages, its applications. That makes sense, because until and unless you don't know regarding the extra features that this language encompasses and the advantages it bears, you cannot learn, you cannot grow in this industry. Suppose we were having, for a real world example I am just telling you, we were having telephones. Okay, we were having landlines. What is the essence of mobile? Mobile in the sense that is the next version, updated version of the telephone. In spite of calling, we are having many applications with the mobile. We can use it as a camera, we can use it as an MP3 player, we can view videos, we can chat, we can interact, so many things, browse, we can do n number of things with the mobile. So that is the way, and a particular person to whom we can talk can be easily accessed if you are using mobile. So there are n number of applications over landline. Okay, so we have changed our life from landline to mobile. We have just upgraded, we have just updated. In the similar fashion, those are which are the limitations that we are facing in Java or in C or in any other programming languages that can be overcome, or it encompasses so many several features that makes it user friendly for any development. Either it may be the web development, either it may be the desktop applications development, graphical user interface. So any applications can be easily designed, developed, and it is easy to learn. So no need to bother about how this language is, whether I am able to learn all these things or not. So you should not worry about that. So as I told you that learning a programming language is nothing but learning any natural language. Suppose if you want to learn Kannada, how you learn Kannada? First you initially started with the swara, what we call it as a. Later you learned about Vyanjana. Later you learned about the grammar. Later you learned about how to frame a sentence. You are able to build your own vocabulary in the Kannada. Similarly, that of English also. There also the basic unit of English language is alphabets. You learn consonants, you learn vowels, you learn words in association with each alphabet. Okay. Later, you learnt about framing sentences. You learnt about grammar. So, step by step, you are supposed to learn all these things in associated with any language. Similar way, in the C also, what you learn directly, whether I told you to write a program regarding any task, no, na. So that is a tough one. So for that reason only, you just have to go through the basic versions, step by step procedure to solve a particular problem that we are defining using algorithm. The same way, step by step learning techniques that you need to adopt. In the C, what you learn? You learned about tokens, you learned about keywords, you learned about variables, constants you learned about strings, arrays, pointers, structures, unions, various concepts. You go on having familiar with all these aspects. Then only you can easily understand what actually the program is all about. Program consisting of all these things. The variables are there, constants are there, tokens are there. Everything is there in the programming language now. In the similar fashion also, in the Python also, you are going to learn from the basic itself, like any other programming language. Either it may be the C, it may be the Java. This is also kind of programming language where from the beginning only you are supposed to learn all these things. Now, if you go from the history, evolution of this Python, so in the year 1989 only, this fellow, Guido van Rossum, he first developed the programming language Python. So you might be very much aware, you might be very much eager to know about, so whether it is any kind related to a snake. So we are having a snake by name Python. No, that's not like that. An interesting fact is that whenever he is going to visit this circus, flying circus, that was owned by Monty Pythons. So at that time only he got an idea to develop a new programming language, hence he has just kept the name Python. That's it. Okay. The next important thing is that we just have to know about what are the features of this programming language. I told you now, whenever you are supposed to buy a mobile, you just go through the features. What is the megapixel of the camera of that mobile? What is the memory it is having? What is the capacity of the processor? What is the display? What is the size of the display? What is the operating system it incorporates? So everything you are going to learn the features in association with the mobile, television, washing machine, whatever you go for. And despite of all these things, you just go for economy of scale also. If it is cheap, okay, I can manage all these things. So in a similar fashion, what are the features, what are the characteristics of the Python that we need to go through them. So if you consider first and second, I just explained these two concepts, both are one and same, readable and easy to learn. Okay, so readable and easy to learn in the sense, so once you go through the C program, whether you feel any kind of anxiety or any kind of strangeness, you are very much familiar with all these concepts regarding C or even Java. Okay, so whenever there is a word, whenever there is a token, so you can easily identify and you easily analyze and understand that if you are using this concept means the purpose is you already know that one. In a similar fashion, in the Java also, So that is readable and easy to learn. In the sense, here also from the basic version only we are going to learn everything. It is easy to learn. It is a simple programming language. So each line you are supposed to understand. So if there is a printf in the C, I am going to tell you. So what it indicates? So whatever we are going to write in the printf, that is going to be displayed on the screen. You know now. If there is a scanf, then it will takes the variables from the users. That's it now. In the similar fashion also, Python is also so much easier than easier languages. Next comes cross-platform. So this one, because Python is a high-level programming language. High-level programming language in the sense Python is also built using English-like statements. It can use all the 26 alphabets of English along with special symbols, numbers, everything is also present. Hence, it makes a sense that it can be easily learned. The next comes cross-platform. What do you mean by cross-platform? Platform in the sense, whenever there comes a platform in the programming language, you just think of OS, because without OS, it is not, you are not supposed to execute any programming language. So it is just like a intermediate one which can support system as well as user. It is an interface between user and the system. Okay. And one more thing is that Python we can execute, we can download, we can execute Python in any of the operating system. Not only Windows, not only Linux. It can be executed on Windows. We can run Python programs in Windows. We can run on Mac, Linux, many more operating systems. The Python programs can be executed. Hence, the name cross-platform. Okay. Next comes open source. So open source in the sense there are two kinds of softwares that we can download, that we can have. One is open source and another one is closed source. So what do you mean by open source? Open source in the sense where we can easily download. Okay, the first thing is without any cost we can easily download. So that means open source and free both are same. I am going to explain you. Open source in the sense whatever the real source code of that particular programming language we can easily access, we can easily download, we can redistribute to many peoples, and also we can modify the software according to the need and requirement of the user. Okay, that we call it as an open source. So many open source programs we can have. One is Blender, which is used in the animation. Firefox is there. Okay, Linux is there. So many applications, softwares are there which are open source. Apart from Python, PHP is also there. This is also an open source. Open source in the sense where we can freely download the software. First thing is we can redistribute the software. We can modify according to the need of according to the requirement. We can even modify also. That is the meaning of open source. Okay. Next thing is large standard library. So what do you mean by large standard library? Before going to that, we just have to understand about the library. Okay. So in the C, we have seen various libraries. One is stdio.h, another one is math.h, another one is string.h, ctype.h. So many libraries we have seen in the C, isn't it? So what is the essence of using these libraries? So any kind of complex operations we are performing. Okay. Suppose if you want to perform a trigonometric applications, if you are supposed to solve trigonometric function, then if you use math.h, all the high level mathematical functions are defined and discussed in the math.h. Okay, you just call any function directly and perform the things. No need to write a separate code for the particular operation itself. Similarly, string.h, okay, all the string handling mechanisms are going to be explained in the string.h. You can concatenate the strings, you can search for the string, you can match the string. So many things you are going to perform in the string operations now. So that is going to be defined and declared in this library. Similarly, in the Python also it supports a large standard library. We are having so many libraries that are supported by the Python. Using that library, you can easily access any functions, any complex functions, and directly you can use by just calling that library. You can directly access that one. You can manipulate and do whatever you can do. Free, I told you, this is regarding open source only. Next comes exception handling. Okay, exception handling, I think you have learned this one in Java. Okay, so exception handling in the sense, exception in the sense, ಆಡು ಭಾಷೆನೇ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಎರರ್ ಅಂತಾನೂ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ನಾವು, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಎರರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಏನಾದರೂ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಈಗ ಸಪೋಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ there is a program, okay, these are the number of lines that a particular program is having. Suppose ಈ 10 ಲೈನ್ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಈ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ 5ನೇ ಲೈನಿಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಷನ್ ಬಂತು. ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದೊಂದು ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಎರರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ that doesn't allow the easy flow of a program. ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್, ಅದು ಆಗದೆ ಇರುವಂತ ತಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸಪೋಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 5th ಲೈನ್ ನಾಗ ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಷನ್ ಇತ್ತು, ರನ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಎರರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಮುಂದಿನ ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವಲ್ಲ 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ಆ ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ನ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ. ತಿಳಿತಾ? ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಸರ್ವರ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಎರರ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಇಂಥವು ಎರರ್ಸ್ ಬಂದೇ ಬರ್ತಿರ್ತಾವ, ಮಿಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರಬಹುದು. ಇಂಥವು ಏನಾದ್ರು ಎರರ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅವಾಗ ಅದು ಮುಂದಿನ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಲೋ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಈ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಅಥವಾ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಫೌಂಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಜಾವಾನಲ್ಲಿ, ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಫೌಂಡ್ ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ರೀತಿ ರನ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಎರರ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾವ, ಕಂಪೈಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಎರರ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾವ, ಯಾವುದೇ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಆ ಎರರ್ಸ್ ಬಂತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಅದು ಸ್ಟಕ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ತದೆ, ಸ್ಟಕ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದು ಆಗದೆ ಇರುವಂಗೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ನ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ ಪೈಥಾನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಅದು ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನೇ ಎರರ್ಸ್ ಬರಲಿ, ಏನೇ ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಬಂದ್ರು ಅದನ್ನ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗಿ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಷನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ವೇರ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಲರ್ನ್ಡ್, I think you are very much aware about the memory management functions. I want to explain you in the case of data structures. Data structures ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೇಳಿನಿ ಏನೇನು ಬಂದ್ರು ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ನಾಗ. malloc ಅಂತ ಕಲ್ತೀರಿ, calloc ಕಲ್ತೀರಿ, realloc ಕಲ್ತೀರಿ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಫ್ರೀ ಕಲ್ತೀರಿ, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ಕಲ್ತೀರಿ. ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಅಲೋಕೇಶನ್, ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲೋಕೇಶನ್, ರೀಅಲೋಕೇಶನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಫ್ರೀ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದರ ಮೇನ್ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಏನು? ಅಲೋಕೇಶನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಡಿಅಲೋಕೇಶನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೆಮೊರಿ. ಎಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಯುಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿನೇ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅನ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್, ಅಥವಾ ಅದು ನಮಗೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಆಗಲಿ, ಆ ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ಸ್ ಆಗಲಿ, ಆ ಕೋಡ್ ಆಗಲಿ, ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕೋಡ್ ಆಗಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಪೈಥಾನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಫೀಚರ್ ಇದೆ. ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅನ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಏನಿರ್ತದಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒದಗಿಸಿ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಅಲೋಸ್ ಯು, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಫ್ರೀ that unused memory and allows the user to use extra space as per the requirement.